Welcome to F101 with Friends, your pit stop for all things Formula One. Whether you're here for the stats, the memes, or just figuring out what a chicane is, we've got you covered. Buckle up, because the fun starts right now. Hi everyone, my name is Nisha, a newbie F1 girlie who is desperate to make more friends so that I can talk about this sport all the time. Each week, a new guest will join me on this journey, from seasoned F1 fans to other curious newcomers, and we will explore what it is about this million-dollar sport at gravity-defying speeds that we just can't stop watching. We'll try to break it all down in a way that's fun, relatable, and hopefully try to explain some of the tech talk. This week, we are going straight into the desert heat of Lusail, home of the Qatar Grand Prix. This race feels like someone dropped a laser-cut tilke circuit into a frying pan. Long straights, fast sweepers, relentless tire wear, sandstorms that come out of nowhere. It's a proper endurance test disguised as a night race. We're heading into a track where Pirelli basically cries every year and everyone's tires age faster than a Ferrari CEO after talking nonsense about the two of the greatest drivers to ever live. If you want more information on that, I strongly suggest reading up about John Elkann. Joining me for this race is a huge Hamilton fan and our guest from the Miami episode, Lauren. Welcome back to the pod, Lauren.
Thank you, Nisha. Thank you for having me again.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you back again. But I know as a Hamilton fan, you must be feeling all kinds of things. And especially after the decision that came out after the race. What were your lowlights and highlights for the Las Vegas GP?
Okay, so my highlights and lowlights for the Las Vegas GP. I think highlight would definitely be Max Verstappen winning the race, and I know that's a huge thing for me to say, being like a very, very big Lewis Hamilton fan, to finally start rooting for Max Verstappen to win.
Yeah.
But I guess it just took Lando Norris to convert me into a Max Verstappen fan. So like he's just a brilliant driver. Max is just doing Max things this race, so great to see that. And I'm not a very big Lando Norris fan, so like to see him lose 2 positions and then eventually, when I was not fully following it after the race, so I heard rumors. The first thing I heard was that Lando Norris was being checked for the whole the whole issue that happened. And I was like, oh, great, that means Oscar Piastri is back. And then the next thing I get to know is that Oscar Piastri is also being called in for the same thing. And I was like, oh my God, no.
So just for context for our listeners, both McLarens were disqualified because the skid block that they have at the bottom of the car was a little thinner than it should have been. So that gives them an undue advantage, and therefore, their positions were taken away. Yeah.
So very mixed reactions on that. But again, that's not a driver thing. It's the team's fault. It should have been. Especially at this point of the season, wherein you have 2 drivers who are quite literally fighting for a championship. Correct. And then now there's the third guy. It's like the whole 2 cats fighting for the roti, and now the monkey is just coming to take it away. So Max is quite literally doing that. And he's Max Verstappen at the end of the day. You can never discount him. So
I was just saying you cannot write a better script than this for a title fight, right? Because we're in a position now where Norris is leading, but not by much. And both Oscar and Max are at the same points. And it's absolutely crazy what's happening here.
So that was obviously not a good highlight of this weekend. But at the same time, like I said, right, mixed reactions, because now it makes it all the more interesting.
Yes.
Apart from that, Kimi Antonelli.
Yes.
My God, what a drive he had. 48 laps on one hard tire.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quite literally going to call him Hard Tire Houdini
That's the best
from
name.
now on, because he was just insanely good. Like,
Yeah.
he had a 5-second penalty, but he, like, ensured that he doesn't lose too many places because of it. Just
Yes.
lost one place, and now he
got
has
it
a
back.
podium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. And I mean, he started P17 to P3. That's like quite a good
Crazy.
thing, especially for a rookie. So that was definitely a highlight. And yeah, at the same time, like,
Hamilton
I guess I covered
also-
it already.
Yeah, Hamilton also
Yeah.
clawed his way back to the top.
Yeah.
That's great.
Correct.
to
From
see.
P19 or P20 to P10, that's
Yeah.
amazing again. Very interesting race. There was some action,
Yeah.
good overtakes and all that you could see. But yeah, I mean, feeling very, very, very sad for Oscar Piastri.
I know.
Everything that can go wrong is going wrong for
Seriously.
him. Like,
But
it's
I'll be
so sad
honest,
to see.
like even during the race, there were a lot of times that we saw some mistakes from Oscar. Like he was trying to overtake Kimi, but he locked up, which put him right
Yeah.
in the in Charles's attack, and Charles was able to
Yeah.
overtake him, and Charles is
Exactly.
very clear that car is a tractor, right? And if that tractor is
Yeah.
able to overtake a rocket ship, you've clearly made a mistake somewhere. So
Exactly.
yeah, he is sort of, but as we heard, like Crofty and all say that this season, like this half of the season, all the low grip circuits are finally
Yeah.
done. And Qatar and Abu Dhabi are, of course, they're more like your older tracks, which
Exactly.
Oscar was good at, and Oscar was good in Qatar as
Yeah.
well. So we might see something good coming. I have hopes. So
Yeah.
now that the title fight is a lot closer, I am
Yeah.
reigniting all my hopes, manifesting.
Yeah. And if nothing else, like even if he, like, I don't want to say it that he won't win and all, but I just wanted to like be a very, very interesting
Yes.
title fight. And at this point, it quite literally looks like it might just go all the way down to Abu Dhabi.
I think so.
And I want that to happen. Yeah, because it's much better for the sport, right?
That's
when
true.
it comes down to that last race.
Correct.
And everyone has an equal chance,
Yeah.
or I mean, not equal, but rather a chance to win.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, honestly, this sport is full of like all these chances. Like we
Yeah.
never thought, we thought a Max is gonna need a miracle to get anywhere close, and
Yeah.
lo and behold, he's been granted 2 miracles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So great, yeah, great to see that happen.
Let's set the scene for Qatar, right? Because it's a race that is somehow predictable and chaotic at the same time. We're racing at the Lusail International Circuit, just north of Doha. It's a track that was originally built for MotoGP, which means it's fast, flowy, and absolutely devours tires like a hungry Pirelli monster. The Qatar Grand Prix is one of the newest races on the calendar. It debuted in 2021, disappeared in 2022, but that's because the country was busy hosting, the World Cup, and then came back full time from 2023. Drivers will do 57 laps around this 5.419 kilometer circuit, which has 16 corners and just one DRS zone. The lap record is a 122.384 set by Lando Norris last year because he really came into form in those last few races last year.
Qatar is also notorious for extreme tire weather. The track has high-speed corners basically everywhere, which means the rubber gets shredded. In 2023, Pirelli literally found micro cracks in the tires after FP1, and the FIA said, cool, mandatory 2-stop race for everyone now. And that will be the case for this year as well.
And let's not forget the heat. Even though it's a night race, drivers still call this one a sauna with wheel spin. In 2023, several drivers nearly fainted, threw up in the car, or had a heat stroke. Logan Sargent retired because his body just said, nope. Esteban Ocon drove half the race while vomiting. Lance Stroll couldn't see straight. It was a lot. Since then, Qatar has doubled down on the cooling systems and scheduling, but Lusail still has this reputation.
Qatar actually designed their lighting so that there are no shadows anywhere on the track. Do you know why? It's because at 300 kilometers per hour, even a momentary dark patch can mess with your braking point. So they put up more than 1,000 specialized LED floodlights, positioned at angles that avoid shadows from grandstands, bridges, or even the cars themselves. Everything is evenly lit, so there's no flicker, no bright dark transitions, no guesswork.
But the funniest thing about racing in a desert is, well, the desert fights back. Every night, the wind blows sand straight onto the asphalt. So Qatar built this ring of artificial grass around the circuit to trap the sand before it hits the track. And it kind of works. The track still gets dusty overnight, which is why Qatar also has an insanely high track evolution. Like FP1 goes down. FP2, suddenly everyone is flying. And this year, it's going to be very fun to watch because we'll only have one free practice and we have the last sprint of the year.
As you said before, Lusail was built for MotoGP back in 2004. And you can feel that DNA in every corner. Bikes need long, sweeping arcs, not tight hairpins.
Yep.
So Lusail is full of these continuous, flowy corners that feel like they last for 20 minutes. Drivers always joke about turns 12 to 14. It's like this triple right-hander where you're fully committed the entire time. Great for rhythm, but terrible for tires.
Absolutely. So if you take a look at this track, how would you describe it, Lauren? What does it look like to you?
Okay, so this might throw off some of the listeners, and please everyone look this up. Lusail looks sort of like that Pokémon Ditto throwing a peace sign. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Those two fingers up in the air, those are turns 4 to 7. The rest of the circuit is just Ditto being a squishy little blob. The run to turn 1 is the bottom of Ditto, curving along the left of its body at turn 2 and heading to his middle finger pointed at turn 4 to 5.
Yeah.
Curves down the V of the peace sign or turn 6. Climbs up again to turn 7 or his index fingertip. Then we roll all the way down across his hand and neck to turn 8 to 10. Then turn 11 to 15 form his thin head. Finally goes down the body again to meet the other end of the bottom at turn 16.
Yes, it's a very cool. If you look up the Pokemon, you will understand exactly what it is because the Qatar track looks like that, right? So let's do this sector by sector. Sector 1 is turns 1 to 5. We launch from the start-finish straight. This is the bottom of Ditto, the soft blobby base where he stands. Turn 1 is a heavy braking right-hander that immediately tightens. It's one of the few genuine overtaking spots on this track. Drivers come in hot, tires barely warmed, and the rear just loves to slide. The exit matters because turn 2 swoops left, flowing along Ditto's curved little body. You're already building rhythm here. Lusail is just all about momentum. Then you fire through turns 3, 4 and 5, which form the rise up Ditto's middle finger. These are the high-speed bends that drivers take almost flat out. The car dances across the track, G-forces loading up, tires screaming. This is where you find out if your setup actually works. Turn 5, you're fully committed, carrying huge speed and no time to think. The whole sector feels like don't lift, don't breathe, don't die.
Now sector 2, which is turn 6 to 11. Now we dip into the V of the peace sign, turn 6. This one is a quick right kink where the car compresses slightly before climbing back up. Then you shoot up to Ditto's index finger. Turns 7 and 8 are this rising, sweeping sequence where you feel the track tilt beneath you. Drivers absolutely love this part. It's smooth, rhythmic, and insanely fast. Then you drop off the finger and roll down the back of the hand through turns 9 and 10. These are medium speed bends where tire load is constant.
Yeah.
You're not braking hard, you're just managing the car and trying not to cook the fronts. Finally, turn 11 rounds off the palm area and transitions you into Ditto's head. It's a long right-hander that sets up the entire final sector. If you lose traction here, goodbye lap time. This is where the tires really start melting.
And finally, sector 3, which is turns 12 to 16. Welcome to Ditto's head. It's the cutest and most demanding part of the track. Turns 12 to 14 are one continuous looping right-hander. This drivers just feel like it's a forever corner. It feels like turning in the same corner for 10 seconds straight. The G-forces are insane and the tires are begging to retire. Turn 15 is a slight release. Still right hand, still fast, but more about positioning and prepping the car. And finally, turn 16, a long sweeping left that drops you right back into Ditto's base. This corner decides your entire lap because it leads on to the main straight and the only DRS zone. So, Lauren, what are your podium predictions?
Okay, so like we discussed earlier, this is one of the few remaining races where Oscar might just be like the better driver. So I'm like hoping and praying that he gets like first place. And I'm sure, like, we can never discount Max Verstappen. So he's going to be on the podium, and I'm hoping probably like second place and then third place Lando, I guess. Because at this point, I can't like just say Lando's not going to be there. Like, I'm sure he's going to do everything to be on that podium and to take maximum points. Like, so third place Lando. Yeah.
That's my exact like dream podium for Qatar. So I'm not even going to debate you. That's exactly what I want as well.
Yeah. And this is for like the main race. Do you have any predictions for sprint?
For sprint?
It's the same thing for sprint. For me, if possible, like Lando DNF.
Oh my god! Like, now you're just taking words out of my brain.
Yeah. If possible, Lando DNF for sprint. So like more points for Oscar. And then like it should come down to Abu Dhabi. Like,
yes, that would be amazing. Yes, I want an Abu Dhabi 2021 repeat.
Yeah.
Now, the story of the Qatar Grand Prix is one of those classic, if we want it, we will build it moments. The Lusail International Circuit wasn't the result of decades of tradition or organic motorsport culture. It was a national project. Qatar decided in 2003 that they wanted a world-class racing venue, and within 14 months, the entire track was built. It cost around $58 million and opened in 2004, hosting MotoGP as its first major event. Lusail quickly gained fame in the motorcycling world, especially after 2008 when Qatar installed one of the world's largest permanent lighting systems to create MotoGP's first ever night race.
For years, the circuit existed purely in the two-wheel universe. Formula One didn't arrive until 2021. And even that came with a twist. Rumors suggest that the MotoGP contract with Qatar included a clause they were preventing the country from hosting F1. A sort of you can have us but not them arrangement. Once that clause expired and COVID disrupted the 2021 calendar, Qatar saw its opportunity. Lusail stepped in as a replacement race, and it worked. By the end of that debut weekend, Qatar had secured a 10-year deal with Formula One to 2031.
It's crazy. All of these Middle East races have contracts until so late. But like your old school tracks are still struggling to, I mean, sports washing, I guess, but still.
Yeah.
Oil money keeps the tracks there.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about Lusail, there's a catch. Lusail was, since it was built for bikes and not F1 cars, to host a permanent Grand Prix, the circuit needed some massive upgrades to achieve that full FIA Grade 1 status. So ahead of the 2023 race, Qatar essentially rebuilt the entire facility. Upgrades included a new pit lane, a complete redesigned paddock, and a garage complex. The old one just wasn't big enough for F1. There were improved runoff areas, new curbs, a fresh medical center, expanded hospitality because all of those rich people are coming to see F1, and they had to upgrade all the access roads. It was a renovation on the scale of the World Cup project that Qatar had become infamous for. Fast, expensive, and maybe a bit sketchy.
Yeah. The very first F1 race in 2021 was a track limits and penalty fiesta. Drivers kept running wide at the final corner, curbs damaged front wings, and stewards handed out so many penalties it felt like Oprah was in race control. You get a penalty, you get a penalty, everyone gets a penalty. Of course, we didn't come back here in 2022 as Qatar was holding a very questionable FIFA World Cup.
But nothing compares to 2023, the year Qatar earned its reputation as one of the most brutal races physically. The combination of extreme humidity, high speed corners, and relentless G forces pushed the drivers to the limits. The grid looked absolutely destroyed post race, and the FIA immediately launched a review into safety and cooling guidelines. Do you remember the cool down room after 2023 Qatar? It was Norris, Piastri, and Max, and they got in, and Piastri was literally on the floor, lying down because it was so hot.
Yeah.
I think all of them sat on the floor except for Norris because he just looked exhausted.
Yeah, and that's like used as one of the memes now whenever they're trying to, like, Oscar Piastri lying down.
Yeah. Because it was so brutal. I remember some of the onboards that we saw of, like, I think it was Lance Stroll. He was like shaking when he got out, and the medical people had to come and hold him. It was crazy. I can't believe people see that and then still say that F1 is not a sport. Like, are you kidding me? These guys just died.
Yeah.
I think the only person who came out looking like, I've done this before, was Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
Right? He came out like, my back hurts, but this is still not the worst race that I was ever in.
Yeah, and I think, like, a lot of things changed for me, like, in terms of, like, understanding what a brutal race they have to go through. Once I saw the Drive to Survive Singapore episode, especially George, like, he was like, he looked like a ghost at one point. Correct. He was that white and like, I mean, I always knew, like, since we've watched the sport for so long, that it is brutal and all. But it really put things into perspective, like, after that episode. And I was just like, yes, we're like going to all these hotter countries and it's really nice because they have the money to do all these things. But I don't think, like, it takes a, like, huge toll on the drivers themselves, like, which is why I still feel we need our legacy tracks to continue so that... It can't be like brutal every other weekend for them. It's not going to be good for their health, at least in my opinion. Yeah.
And especially since now we have essentially the longest calendar, right? 24 races, the longest it's ever been. Yeah. And imagine, like, this is the 23rd race, right? You're already tired, exhausted. I understand that you're rich, but you're still, like, this is still a intense sport. And then you have to, like, drive in this heat. Oh my God.
Insane. Then came the tire crisis. During the 2023 weekend, Pirelli discovered micro tears in the tire sidewalls due to the aggressive curbs. Serious enough that the FIA stepped in and imposed a mandatory maximum of 18 laps per tire set and a minimum of 3 pit stops for all drivers.
Yeah.
It was only the second time in modern F1 history that the FIA had to enforce a strategy like that. This year we have 2 pit stops with 25 laps per stint. We should be okay for the sprint, but this could make for a very interesting race.
Yep. Now, once again, this is a very young track, so we don't have too many, like, best moments here, but there were a few that we should definitely highlight. 2021, the year of the most controversial title fight. We were a few races away with Lewis and Max constantly one-upping each other. Pierre Gasly in his AlphaTauri causes a yellow flag, and it looks like maybe Max didn't see it. So he ends up getting a grid penalty for ignoring yellow flags, which puts him 5 places below Hamilton, who was on pole. Ex-team principal Christian Horner blamed it on a rogue marshal, as if that guy just woke up and chose chaos. The FIA instantly said absolutely not and dragged Horner into their office and made him apologize. It was giving principal gets called to principal's office. Now, we may all despise Horner for being a skeevy uncle, but I have to give him this. He will go to war for Max. Doesn't matter if Max has committed murder, he will always back his favorite son.
The very first Qatar race gave us peak feel-good vibes. I mean, Fernando Alonso back on the podium after 7 years. Oof. 7.
Yep.
He drove like it was 2010 again, managing tire chaos, defending like an absolute menace and keeping Checo behind him, even though that Red Bull was basically a rocket ship.
True.
When he crossed the line in P3, the whole internet screamed, El Plan. Honestly, it was the most wholesome thing Qatar has given us so far.
Jump to 2023 and Qatar delivered another gem. Oscar Piastri winning his very first sprint race, and he did it in the most Oscar way possible. In ridiculous heat while half the grid was melting and he was just cool as a cucumber. Holds off Max, takes a trophy, and his radio message was something like, "Yep, that was nice." It was the moment that we all looked at the kid and went, "Oh, okay, this guy is the real deal." So talking about Qatar in 2024, we saw chaos, tire wear, sand, lights. And somehow it was still a banger of a race. So let's break it down team by team. Max Verstappen didn't even bother with suspense this time. He started second, got ahead early and just disappeared. Classic Qatar, high speed, tire heavy, long corners. It's basically Verstappen playground in 2024. He managed the tires, controlled the pace, and every time someone looked remotely close, he just stretched his legs again. Checo, meanwhile, struggled with pace and tire graining. He fought in the midfield most of the race and ended up just outside the top 6. Not terrible, but also not what Red Bull would have wanted on a track that suits them fairly well.
Charles Leclerc had a very Charles race. Quiet, calm, and sneaky fast. While the chaos unfolded behind him, he kept everything clean and brought home P2. He didn't have the speed to chase Max, but he had enough tire life to hold everyone else off.
Yeah.
Qatar rewards discipline, and Charles gave exactly that. Carlos Sainz had the opposite kind of Sunday. Stuck in traffic, fighting balance problems, and never quite comfortable in the long corners. He finished further down, picking up points but not really making waves.
Oscar Piastri handled the long sweeping corners like a pro and finished P3, another podium at Lusail. He was smooth, controlled, zero drama. He also gave us some cheeky late race pace that kept Ferrari very honest. Lando Norris started further back, but the man just carved through the field. Every lap he was overtaking someone, seriously. They could have made just one solo highlight from his onboards alone. He finished just behind the podium after a storming recovery. If he had qualified better, he would have been right in the mix for P2. And this was very important in the McLaren versus Ferrari championship at that time. It was all boiling down to Abu Dhabi, the last race.
Yeah. And Mercedes had a decent Sunday. George Russell fought hard early in the race, stayed within striking distance of the leaders, and maintained solid pace. He brought home P5, a respectable result on a track that demands stability and tire kindness. Lewis Hamilton struggled a bit more. He said the balance felt off all weekend and it showed. Lots of sliding, lots of radio frustration, and ultimately a fight just to stay in the points. He finished around the lower end of the top 10.
Alpine actually had one of their cleaner weekends. No chaos, no dramatic radio, just steady pace. Gasly and Ocon hovered around the edges of the points, while Gasly grabbing 1 point in P10. A small victory for a team that just really needed the momentum. Fernando Alonso had flashes of pace, but Aston just didn't have the aero efficiency for Qatar. He finished in the midfield. Lance Stroll had a tougher outing, fighting tire wear all the race and dropping out of the points.
Yuki Tsunoda had another strong showing. He finished just outside the top 8 after some great overtakes. Liam Lawson also had good racecraft but couldn't quite break into the points. Haas went into full conservation mode. The car simply didn't have the stability for those long corners, but Hülkenberg still managed to fight around P11, 12 on merit. Magnussen struggled more and dropped down the order early.
Qatar is one of those races where teams just don't prepare, they brace for impact. The first big decision is downforce. Teams usually run a medium to high downforce setup because almost every corner at Lusail is a long sweeping arc. But the tricky part is that too much downforce overheats the tires. And this track is already cooking your tires. So engineers will spend the whole weekend trying to find this mythical middle ground, planted enough to survive the corners, but light enough that the tires don't melt after 5 laps. Suspension is another huge factor. Lusail is incredibly smooth thanks to its MotoGP origins and the recent resurfing. So bumps aren't the enemy, the tire load is. A slightly softer suspension helps the car flow through these long radius corners instead of just fighting them.
Then there are the tires, literally the biggest anxiety trigger of the whole weekend.
Yes.
Pirelli brings their hardest compounds, but even those struggle with the massive lateral loads from all the fast corners. And sand on the racing lines, nighttime temperature drops, and high-speed direction changes. And you basically get a race that's one long tire survival test.
Cooling is another area where teams don't take chances anymore. Even though it's a night race, Qatar is hot and humid, and everyone remembers 2023, the heat stroke GP. So cars get extra cooling vents, brake ducts open wider, and drivers get upgraded hydration systems. They might also bring those cooling vests that they tried out this time in Singapore. So in Singapore, what they essentially had done is, if a driver chooses to wear the vest, you can do that. If they don't, then they have to add an extra some equivalent weight of kg to the car so that it's balanced for everyone else, because weight makes such a huge difference in F1.
Yeah. And strategy-wise, Qatar almost never gives you a simple one-stop.
Yeah.
We see such high tire degradation and the mandatory two-stop race this year. If the temperature spike or graining gets out of hand, they pivot to 3 stops. Safety cars don't usually have a big impact here because incidents get cleared quickly. So track position and timing matter more than gambling on undercut.
And on that note, let us wrap up the championship. I want to get your thoughts on this. Who do you think is going to win? How is this all going to play out?
Okay. So I'm going to make it very clear, like one time again. I'm the person who I want to see win the championship versus who I think will win are very different. At this point, I think Lando might just win because, I know Max has an equal chance, but I don't think at this point, unless it's a disqualification, Lando's going to do it, like get a DNF or something. And I don't know. I feel like either both Oscar or Max would require a miracle.
Yes.
Another one to just win the championship. But yeah, having said that, I think Lando's done the right things in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
He's driven a good race.
Yeah.
And that is not just one or two, like multiple. He's maximized every opportunity he's got, which is like a huge change from last year to this year,
exactly.
Right? And even like in terms of his mentality and all of these other aspects, he's changed. So if he wins, it's just not going to be something I'd like to see. I'm not rooting for that, but I think his chances are much higher right now.
Yeah.
But you can never ever discount Max Verstappen, and considering that the last 2 races might just favor Oscar Piastri, I don't want to discount him too. So fingers crossed. Exciting championship. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, and also I think it's a great testament to the McLaren driver development program, right? Because Lando literally started with them as like a 19-year-old doing his internship, getting coffee for Fernando Alonso and all of that stuff. So in a way, it's nice if he does win the championship. It's nice to see that sort of full circle moment, because if you look at all the other driver development programs, I don't think we've seen something like that so far, right? You have Ferrari. I'm not even going to talk about Ferrari. Just Charles is just in misery. Ollie Behrman is next to join that miserable line. So the only other person is Kimi, and he's just started in the Mercedes development program. He's doing great, but he's not going to win the championship in the next 2 years. So it's a nice, I see the investment that went into him, and that's finally paid off. And to your point, a complete shift in mindset, right? He's completely decided this year I'm going to drop all my Playboy stuff, whatever, player, what was the thing that they said in Netflix? Party boy, sorry.
Oh, party boy, yeah.
So I'm going to drop all my party boy stuff, no DJing, no partying, nothing. I'm just going to stay sincere, do my work. His answers are getting better when he talks to people after he wins, or just generally in the media pen. I think, we discussed it some time back that he used to have a very I'm not doing it right, I'm not good, I'm the worst, whatever it is. It's evolved so much where he still maintains his humility because he's taking it one race at a time. But at the same time, he's not downplaying everything. So,
Yeah. It's a good shift. Like I used to quite literally call his mentality earlier a loser mentality. Like, and sometimes it's not very nice to see that in like sports people.
yeah.
Yeah. So like I understand, like, I'm not saying someone should be egoistic or like, too proud or anything.
Right.
But like at the end of the day, not everything is like needs to be that whole
Yeah.
I'm not good enough or whatever, because it really impacts your performance. And I think you could see, like you can see, right, that shift from like when he used to have that mentality versus now. And even like his mentality for sure, his like, the way he conducts himself in interviews, the whole like, being a little bit more focused on like in F1 and all of that. And at the same time also, like, I'm sure he's improved himself like under pressure as well.
Correct.
Because up until like not even last year, but even like the first few races or the first half of the season,
Yeah.
like we used to call, like I know this joke that was there on the internet, bailando.
Yeah.
because
The
he used to
Enrique
constantly
Iglesias song.
bottle, yeah, because he used to always bottle his race starts or like any opportunity that he had. I can't remember which race it was that Oscar Piastri, I think it was Baku, right, when he crashed out, and then
Yes.
everyone was expecting like Norris to have this amazing race and maximize on points, but then he ended up only finishing P6 or 7.
Yeah.
So like, to shift from that to right now, wherein he's just managing himself so well, like, handling the pressure quite well.
Correct.
Props to him. I mean, he has changed, and yeah, it's good to see like McLaren's project finally working out. Good for them. Good for Lando Norris.
Correct. And
But
good
a
for
small
anyone
part
else.
of me still wants Oscar to win.
Of course. I wouldn't even say small part because like there's a huge part of me that definitely wants Oscar to win, but it's a tough one. It's going to be a really tough one. I'm hoping that he puts in all the effort because I would like McLaren also to realize that, hey, listen, this buddy boy, he won, but the difference between points is not that much. So I will get you next year.
Yeah. Have you seen any of those reels on Insta, like the really cute ones wherein so at one point it was like a lot of people like said, right, that Max was out of the championship fight and all.
Yeah.
Because I mean there was that point difference and nobody expected things to turn this way.
It's a 104 point deficit.
Yeah. It was either Oscar or Lando, right?
Yeah.
So I used to see a lot of these reels wherein they'd show a lot of like the childhood photos of Oscar and Lando.
Oh, yeah.
And be like, at the end of this season, one of them's not going to win the championship title.
Oh, no.
And it just like breaks my heart every time I see it, because I mean, I know I'm rooting for Oscar, but this is sports at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Lando's also dreamed of this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I know like either ways, one person's not going to win this championship.
Yeah.
Like, and they were, all three of them right now are in that fight. And I mean, Max still has 4 championships to, like, if he doesn't win, that's
like
still
when
there
you
to
have-
console him.
When you have siblings in the house and it's like one baby is that share, no, you are the elder one, it's okay, share one championship.
Yeah, so Max still has those 4, but these two guys have really put in that effort this year. And then if, like, I don't know if neither of them might, like, neither of them might not win it, but even if one does, someone's not going to, right? And it's just going to be so heartbreaking.
It is, but I will say this. Oscar is much younger than Lando and 2026 is looking good. So there is a possibility that in the next couple of years, he's also going to be a champion. So I'm making my peace with Lando being the champion this year. But besides these guys, who has been your standout performer for the year? Not including the rookies, from all the experienced drivers.
Okay, so if I have to think about it, I'd say George Russell.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, no one really has impressed me as much as George.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the guy's always there. Like, he's always
Totally.
there. Like, someone makes a mistake, he's maximizing
Yep.
the opportunity. He's so consistent, like, week in, week out.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, like, seen a race wherein you're seeing George Russell perform terribly or
Yeah.
any of that. Like, he's just always there, like,
Yeah.
which is, a great thing to see.
Talk about mentality. We've been saying these people sitting in a rocket ship are complaining and whining and all of that stuff. This boy was in the Mercedes program, was made to sit in Williams for like 3 years, then finally gets a chance to move up to Mercedes, only to listen to the world and Toto Wolff saying, maybe if I get Max Verstappen,
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, let this guy at least try. And
Yeah.
under all of that, denying him a contract until recently,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's saying 1+1 for someone who could be a champion, let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And keeping all of that in mind, and he's still out there absolutely delivering, right? And
Yeah.
there was this one line that Crofty said at the Las Vegas race, which is, last year we had hammer time, and this year we have the Russell hustle. I think it's perfect because that boy has been hustling. You may not like him because he's all like, oh, very Karen, I'll go tell the manager, whatever. But
Yeah.
he's doing a stellar job this year.
Yeah. And he's a proper diva as well outside of the track. He's such a, like, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't ever think, like, I'd be such a, like, not a big fan, but like a fan of George Russell in general, because he's a really good guy, but I never thought it would, like, come to this. And he's been super impressive, and even outside, like, my favorite storyline is this whole how the Max Verstappen, George Russell have become
Divorced
enemies
couple.
to lovers.
Yes.
Like, I've just been enjoying that whole internet thing that's happening. It's too funny. Because they went from, like, hating each other to quite literally in Brazil, both of them are holding hands. And everyone was like, Max Verstappen could have taken Kimi Antonelli, but no, they chose to have George Russell just after Max Verstappen said there is no space in the car. Like, so yeah, I love how the whole internet thing is playing out. But yeah, he's a very good driver, and I think he's been the only one who's outside of our top 3 who's impressed me. And yeah, I mean, he's quite literally the 4th guy in the championship.
Yes, exactly. So,
says a lot, like,
I think the thing with, like, Max is, as a person, he's such a nice dude, but on track, he's such a monster. Like, it's very difficult for anyone to be friends with him because they're like, they think that, okay, we're friends. And then, like, on track, he's like, I will run my car on your head. So,
I saw this one video which really changed the way I look at Max Verstappen. I know I say it a lot that, like, it took Lando Norris to make me a Max Verstappen fan, which is true. But this one video, like, made me, like, connect with him when, not to say that I'm going through the same experiences, but, like, it really showed that human side to him when he spoke about how he has 4 world championships, but it came at the cost of his parents having to separate, and, like, his father having to put so much so much of his time and his life and all went into this. He has a younger sibling who probably missed out on, like, a lot of things just because. And I think I know Charles has also spoken a lot about how Arthur missed out because he had the opportunity and all.
Yeah.
But, like, when Max said it, like, normally, like, he was always, like, he felt like this machine learned guy, like, robotic guy who didn't have emotions. And I mean, on track, like, you see the passionate side of him and, like, all of that, but, like he always seemed very cold and like, someone who doesn't, but that video, Jesus Christ, like it really touched me in like all the right places. And then I was just like, yeah, okay, this guy's a nice guy, like, outside of the track, yeah.
Actually, there's one more video with Gabriel Bortoleto. I think right before the Brazil race, he did a podcast with Max. And Gabby was saying that, of all the people in F1, Max was the only one who was talking to me before I joined F1. Like checking on if I'm okay and like how I'm, leading up to these championships, how am I progressing and all of that stuff. Gave me tips through F2, F3 and all of that stuff, right? And every rookie has said the same thing about Max. And they've all said the same thing, that no one in F1 spoke to them before they joined F1 except for Max. For a 3-time or 4-time world champion to do that, it speaks a lot about him.
And I know they like the whole joke is also there now, the Max-plaining thing where he loves talking to
Max-plaining.
Like I've seen him Max-plain to Lewis and I was like, wasn't he like your biggest rival? Because technically even in the only that 2021 championship, like, he really had someone to fight against and earn that. The other three were like fairly easier, right? So like to see him Max play, and I mean it's quite visible that all the rookies love him. Like, he's such a rookie magnet in that way, because
really
any of these driver parades or like, they are walking from one place to another, all the videos on the internet, you'll always see Max talking to some rookie and like explaining something to them and all. And it's great to see that, because I mean, I'm sure he's like doing it out of the whole experience that he's had. Like, wherein not everyone must
welcoming
have been very
to him,
accepting and welcoming. And then like, to ensure that he's like breaking that barrier and doing the right thing, that's nice to see.
It really is. In fact, even after the Las Vegas race, we saw Kimi running to Max, right? And telling him, I finished P4. Like, it was so cool. And you can see visibly on Max's face, he's so proud of him. You're right. He's breaking generational trauma. That's what he's doing. But speaking of the rookies, who has been your standout performance for this year?
I think I have two favorites, but really I think 3 people have impressed me, but 2 favorites. So number 1 would be Isaac Hajar.
Yes.
Amazing. Like, the guy's been outperforming his Racing Bull car. And he's not just had like, say, 1 or 2 stellar performances. He's had like multiple of them, right?
Correct.
And a lot of the times he's finished in points. You can make out like he's just so passionate about like, wanting to win. And I'm sure if he had the right car, he'd be doing much better. And a lot of the times I'm just like hoping he doesn't get that second Red Bull seat, because
I swear
that quite literally might just ruin his career. Like, we've seen it happen to Yuki, and it's incredibly sad. But I mean, Isaac has been amazing. Even like in the Las Vegas GP, wherein he was like, let's make sure we're not like, we are aggressive in our approach and all of that. You can see that he wants to win. And it's great to see that. Like, it's very nice to know that, like, in the future as well, we're gonna have very good racers. So he was number 1. Number 2, obviously, Kimi Antonelli. He had a great race in the Las Vegas GP. Again, even for Brazil, like, when he managed to keep Max Verstappen behind. And I know, I just have this feeling that only because it was Max Verstappen, because I mean, I feel like Max Verstappen probably let Kimi Antonelli keep that second place. Had it been anyone else, he would have probably overtaken them. But he was like, oh no, like, cutie guy, just let him have it, like,
But that is from Max's side, okay? Imagine you're Kimi Antonelli and you look in your mirrors and it's freaking Max Verstappen behind you.
Yeah.
You must be so terrified. But for you to be able to keep it on track, right?
Yeah.
That itself is
Not
a big
make
deal.
mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phenomenal. I mean, really nice to see Kimi do well. And I mean, he has such a good team around him. Like, he has Bono, who obviously is an icon.
Yes.
Then he has George, and I've been seeing a lot about how this year, since George is the more experienced driver, he's really stepped up and is leading the team and all of that.
Yeah.
So, and obviously he has Toto Wolff, who will do what is required for their project Mercedes.
Yes.
Like Kimi Antonelli. So I mean, I really want to see him do well. There were some races at the start of the season wherein I was like, maybe the hype around him was a little too much, and he was an overrated guy. But then when later on you'd see the images of him getting emotional, then you're just like, he's such a young guy at the end of the day,
he's a baby.
Yeah. Exactly. And then sometimes I don't realize that these people are so much younger than me. They're all babies and they're just trying to figure things out. But amazing. And I think Ollie Behrman is also the third guy I've been super impressed with. I just don't want what has happened with Charles to happen to him. I really don't want it.
It's so sad because we see Isak Hajar, who's great. He might end up going into the Red Bull second seat, which is sad.
Yeah.
Ollie Behrman goes into Ferrari, which is just misery. And Kimi, in Mercedes, I understand. But if there's ever a chance for Toto to get Max Verstappen, Kimi suddenly becomes side project, But it is a tough world out there for them, but I will say an exciting one for us to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's a lot of these outside of the track moments that really impact me, because I remember when he got P4 and then he's doing his interview and then he sees his dad and his girlfriend and his mom and they were crying. Oh gosh,
he
also is not able to hold it in, and to see those moments and how much it means to them. For me it's like entertainment at the end of the day, right? I'm just waiting to see what's gonna happen and all, but then when you see that, it really it makes it so much harder to want just one person to do well.
Correct.
But then at the end of the day, it's a sport.
Yes.
Right? You have to just...
But it's nice. I do like...
the best man win.
Yeah. I do like that, we get... Actually, speaking of... Because you said best man win, Las Vegas also had the final F1 Academy race. So Dorian won the championship, which honestly I was expecting her to win. Last year itself, she was so close. So I think it's just been a really good week to be Mercedes. And in 2026 they're rumored to have the best engine. So I think we're gonna see some very exciting things from George and from Kimi and from every team
Lewis,
that uses
hopefully.
Oh god. Yes, Lewis also apparently has been working with the Ferrari engineers to make the car better for 2026. So I'm hoping that he gets at least one win next year, because I know he's going to retire at some point between next year and 2027. I just want him to retire on a slightly high note and not in this state that he is currently in.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think any of the rookies have disappointed me as such this year. Because there have been races wherein even Gabriel Bortoletto
absolutely
did some good moves and had some good races. It's sometimes it's just the car, right? It's sad to see what's happening.
Franco, basically.
Even Liam Lawson, like, I know he had like such a horrible start, like, with Red Bull. And it was so sad to see, like, they had such a, like, 3 races and he was out.
2
like,
races.
And, oh, sorry, yeah. From the 3rd race onwards. You're so right, yeah. And that was brutal, like, and especially for a guy that young to not even give him a chance, like, and then, like, it took some time for him, even in Racing Bulls. But then, like, he's been in the points, he's been qualifying, like, going to Q3 and all. So it's great to see that, like, he's clearly a good driver, and I wish he, like, had a better opportunity. And not just like better opportunity being Red Bull second seat, because that's
But it is. I think this has been one of the best crop of rookies so far. It's been really, really good and really fun to watch all of them. And it's heartening to see that the future of the sport is also secure, and it's going to be just as exciting as it is right now.
Yeah. But my favorite rookie batch will always be George, Lando, Alex Albon. Have you seen that?
I have, yes. It's
video?
So funny.
Yeah, I don't think anything's ever going to top that, because all 3 of them are such funny, humorous guys, like, and they made an absolute joke out of that whole thing. But Alex Albon's rap was phenomenal.
Yeah. Actually,
like, there was once a guy named Lando. Something, and then Fernando, like, who looked up to Fernando. It was just too funny.
It's very
like,
good. But actually, that Las Vegas makes 150 races for Lando and George. Yeah. So can you believe those rookies have like come so far, and now we have a completely new set. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Having said that, like, this year there have been quite a few, like, I don't think I'm disappointed in them as much as I feel bad for them. But Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda, like, to see what how the season has unfolded for them. I mean, for Yuki, it's almost like he's getting punished for performing so well, like, he did quite well in Racing Bull, and then they got him to Red Bull, and then to see like it's just so sad to see that happen. And even with Pierre Gasly, like, we've seen him do well when he's had a good car and all of that. And now to see him, like, literally among the bottom few of those who are, like, who have points, it's so sad to see that happen. Because, I mean, like, with these guys, they don't have very long also, like, because they're no more like these young guys, like the new rookies. And, like, if the rookies are already doing so well, then, like, you can only imagine how fast they will get replaced, like, and considering how a lot of these teams are taking, like, knee-jerk reactions to when someone's not performing and all, I don't think, like, they have an opportunity, like, unless you're a Lewis, wherein, like, you can have a whole bad season, but the team will still want you because you are that good, like, wherein even if he works with the team to build a better car, the other driver is going to benefit. And, like, that's something a Lewis could do, a Sebastian can do, a Fernando Alonso can do, like, but then with these other guys, I don't think, like, they'll have too long if it continues to be like this. So I just feel super bad for them.
I know, but I mean, again, like, because we're going to be seeing in 2026, maybe Alpine is going to get a Mercedes engine. It's going to be, better for them that next year. So hopefully, I'm hoping for that. That's all I'm looking out for. But I mean, there's a lot to look forward to even now with like another 2.5 races to go. And a lot more to look forward to in 2026 as well. But that is a wrap for us on the Qatar Grand Prix. I can't believe we're here at the final race of the season because it has been quite a journey. For the final race in Abu Dhabi, we're going back to the start with my first guest ever, my sister, Bharati. So stay tuned for that. To our amazing listeners, what do you think? Drop your hot takes in the comments and send us a message or tag us in your wildest predictions. Don't forget to follow, subscribe and share F101 with friends because this community is just getting started. If you have any queries or you want to be a friend on the pod, please reach out to me on Instagram. The link is in the description. Special shout out, as always, to Ashwati and Kevin who support the podcast and also my mental health. Thank you, Lauren, for coming back. I've been your host, Nisha, and we'll see you on the next episode of F101 with Friends.
Thank you.